So, just after our tea break, well, I still have my tea with me, so does Peter, and I said to Peter, what should we talk about? And Pete said, the FBI. How many boxes did you go through of the FBI? Did you go through all of it?
I think I did, but the better question would be, did I look at everything in every box?
Okay, did you look at everything in every box?
No.
Why not?
Well, you know, you get some things, you look at a page and you think, well, that's of no interest, that's of no interest, or whatever it is. So a lot of it was very, how would I say, people came out of the woodwork that were not well in the head, probably. A lot of those documents were there. Sometimes they would follow up.
Oh, they're not case files.
Although they'd often put on the bottom of a page, no lead.
Yeah.
But usually no lead was put on the bottom of a page of something which was pretty significant. You know, like they did it on the bottom of, I remember there was a witness, a Digitizing witness called Hank Farmer that saw bullet strikes in a road and, you know, multiple shots, multiple bullets, in other words. And scrawled on the bottom was no lead. We're not interested in that. But they were interested enough to follow up at his workplace and say that basically he would be better keeping quiet.
Not rock the boat.
Yeah.
So you went through the whole collection. How many boxes is this? 400, 500, 600?
I think it'd been in the thousands.
Really?
Yeah. You know, when you add all the boxes together, because you have individual boxes on individual people. You know, there's boxes on Ruth Payne, there's boxes on Michael Payne, there's boxes and boxes and boxes on George de Mohrenschildt. They seem to go on forever, you know, because he started so early. He was at such an early date of interest in the FBI. You know, talking about it in the 40s, early 40s in Mexico. So.
Yeah, I read FBI files on Wilfrid's during the 40s, and say it was a pain in the neck to deal with. And that was what, 20 odd years prior, the assassination, you know. So that's kind of odd. What I found is that certain files were hidden and didn't come out until 2017, 2018.
First of all, the justification was for informants.
To keep them, yeah.
Yeah, an awful lot of informants.
Yes, every city had at least a dozen informants.
Every single place you could look.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
The Fair Play for Cuba Committee was absolutely, totally penetrated with informants.
So was the Communist Party.
And the Communist Party, yeah, of course.
Completely infiltrated. Yeah. Bulkies. Let's talk about that for a sec. What is so interesting about the bulkies? I mean, I know there's a lot of film material in there, but what makes the bulkies particularly interesting?
I think because it's a place where you can find lots of not only specific pages to do with the evidence and the handling of the evidence. You can find for instance, you can find the photographs of the evidence, lots of photographs of the evidence. But you could also find handwritten statements by witnesses in the bulkies.
Which is odd, because normally they're supposed to be destroyed once they've typed up.
Yeah, they go in an envelope, there's a special envelope they go in. But having said they're handwritten, they're not handwritten by the person, they're handwritten by the agent just doing the interview. So
there is a difference.
There is a difference. So yeah, I mean, there's any amount of that stuff in. There's just like there's so much material in there of interest. I think I found it of interest when I was trying to track the Record Act film, you know, the
Dallas Police evidence
film in there, and seeing the games that they played, trying to hide that film, you know, trying to work out when it left Dallas, what happened to the film, who did this, who did that. It's and then you get up. Then eventually you discover that it's a completely, as you know, a messed up film, with lots and lots of blanks on the film.
Yeah.
Where the evidence, photographs of the evidence is missing.
Yeah. My
and they blame the FBI blame Dallas Police Department for faulty technique, as you know, a Record Act 1C camera, idiot-proof camera.
Yeah. So for the viewers, listeners here, Malcolm investigated this in the second half of the 90s, and was this in conjunction with the book for Armstrong?
No.
It was just for yourself,
yeah.
But it wasn't used afterwards with the book either.
Well, he used the blanks. He used all the reference to the blanks.
The blank frames.
Yeah, the frames.
So Malcolm wrote an article in '99, if I'm not mistaken, and you came up with 6 options of how it actually went. So I've kept it, all the paperwork that I had, didn't give it back like you do, and went through it as I've got to go through this. This is important. This happened in the weekend in Dallas, and also we're talking about the actual evidence and the reproduction of it and how it went. Now, we only know partially what happened to the evidence, because when Vince Drain took the materials with him that night, very early on the 23rd of November, it was like the rifle, the shirt, the fingerprints, certain things of evidence. We know it came back. We also know it went back to the FBI again afterwards. And when miraculously the palm print was found, yeah. But how that all went with all the other evidence that was taken in by the DPD and photographed accordingly, as Bill Alexander said that, he said, before I give it away, we have it all photographed. And this is when the discrepancy turns up, that's how far I know at this point, is that Jesse Curry mailed a letter saying we miss about 102 frames in these processed films.
I got a video, it's 136.
Okay, well, see, there you go. I'll have to check that out. I'm going through all the evidence again and trying to turn it into a chronology and then see what actually happens. What we know is that there are, well, the DPD did something, the FBI did something else, and then the FBI decided to do something else on top of that, and who took care of what isn't as easy to basically figure out.
Well, you know, we have the actual trajectory and timing because of James Callaghan and his testimony, which was excised by Alan Dulles.
It's one of the most damning evidences, actually.
It is, because he says it pure and simple. We got all the evidence at the FBI labs. That's hundreds of items in the early morning of the 23rd of November. That's not the official story.
That's not just a rifle and some fingerprints, but
No,
everything that was in the house.
And then of course he loses the plot a bit because Melvin Eisenberg, who was talking to him, the Warren Commission guy, said that a lot of this stuff is in very bad condition, you know. And he explains, Callaghan explains, it's because of the testing, the fingerprint testing. Everybody was in a rush to get it back to Dallas. They didn't have a chance to desilver it properly. In other words, to clean the stuff properly. So it went back for the official release.
What I would love to see are actually the photographs of the rifle that the FBI took, because they're missing, and that's suspicious. I mean, if you got such a clear-cut case, blah blah blah, then those photographs would show that. And I'll tell you what,
be in the bulkies.
Oh, I'll have to dig it out then, because it's just ridiculous.
I think it's in the
Because
bulkies.
if anything could point out how badly this was all done with the rifle and the palm print and so forth. I mean, Day says he's allegedly said to Drain, oh, make sure in the palm print, blah blah blah, no cellophane, nah, the bump stock will take care of that. And then they do the whole test, they take the rifle apart, they photograph it, they examine it, and they can't find anything. Then the rifle goes back to Dallas, and lo and behold, there's a palm print underneath the barrel. And I know, you know what, I don't like to speculate, but I'll tell you what, the whole thing when Oswald's dead, he lies in the morgue, Oliver Stone did that with Gary Oldman lying there as a dead Oswald, and they take the hand and they basically put that thing on the bottom there, just like that. We know that the Dallas police went there late at night to take fingerprints. We also know that the Dallas police didn't need to take those fingerprints because they already had fingerprints.
Oh, don't get into the fingerprints.
The first set of fingerprints disappears in the FBI archives. FBI takes all the fingerprints and palm prints with them. So there's a brief period that there are no fingerprints at all. And this is when Oswald, after he has had his press conference and he's going upstairs and he hands over his shirt, so he's being photographed with the white t-shirt on, and he then basically gets fingerprinted again by Lieutenant Knight. Those fingerprints are available. You can just go into the University of North Texas and they're all there. The first 2-3 sets of fingerprints that were taken, I see 2 on camera, so I can say at least 2, are gone. They are nowhere to be seen. The only thing you get to see are photocopies of them. Or they are like almost like collages where they also put like the 5 fingers on the bottom of the fingerprint card, which is like a blend of some sort. And it is only after a clerk finds them during the HSCA, because they go, where are the fingerprints of Oswald? And they can't find it in the FBI archives. So a clerk goes in there and he finds them. And this is like 77 or 78. I got that from you, from your documents. So, you know, the chicanery, the messing about with all that, and then it's gone, and then you can't, I mean, Lee Harvey Oswald's fingerprints, how can you misplace that? I mean, seriously. And I basically went deep into that. I've done a talk about this at the Dealey Plaza UK seminar earlier in June, so look it up on YouTube, at the Dealey Plaza UK YouTube channel. But it was just, you know, and I look at this with the evidence photos, and it doesn't differ much. You know, the films, I mean, you also have to differentiate photos and films. It's the actual films that we're basically that I'm trying to investigate. That everybody gets prints of this, that, and the other, that's fine, but what happened to the films and how were the films developed, by whom? Who was it again in Dallas who did it for the DPD? You mentioned the name of the lab earlier.
Well, for their evidence,
yeah.
Recordac Labs.
Recordac Labs, but it had a name, you had a specific name.
Pollock.
Pollock.
Was the guy in charge.
Like Jackson Pollock.
Yeah,
Okay.
Pollock.
Okay, so, and that was...
If you look for that name, he appears on multiple FBI interviews, because they talked to him more than once, several times they talked to him. I was trying to get the story straight so they could wriggle out of it again.
Yeah, that's the sad part of it. Okay, one more thing. We discussed this a while back. Oswald espionage file. Was it 65 files?
Yeah, 65,
Yeah?
yeah.
I put this up in a thread at ROKC before it closed. This was back in, it was 2 years ago. And they got a fair few responses as such, but it wasn't leading to something where we go, well, I found this, or, I mean, there were like little tidbits that would be found. What is so interesting about the espionage files of
Well,
the FBI?
if you look at the flash, right, that comes into the FBI, the flash message, right, it says espionage department. It goes. That's where it goes. That's where Oswald's information goes. So it didn't open a file. It goes to the espionage section in the FBI.
That would be dereliction of duty if
That's
they didn't.
Oswald's defection. Message comes in. Flash message. Espionage section. Huh? It didn't open a file.
Yeah.
Not possible.
That's hard to believe.
Not possible.
Yeah, like I said, dereliction of duty. That would be. I mean, they wouldn't be doing their job.
You know, it's like so many things. There's so many anomalies that you go to. You can go virtually everywhere you go, especially with the FBI. You can find real anomalies. You know, you mentioned just a few, but I mean, look, when we talk about the bulkies, I think you talk about the evidence handling, where when I looked at it, and then later on, John Hunt, a good researcher at the National Archives, was looking at the same sort of stuff that I was looking at, and you get that, you pick up the fact that for no reason, really, for no good reason, the FBI was continually renumbering the evidence. So if you went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bits on, and unless you had a multiple office of pen pushers looking at it, you can't keep track of it. I mean, today you probably could, through computer, you could probably computerize it and track it through. But when you're trying to do it in real time, it's difficult. And I know that John had that problem with it, same as I did.
John Hunt is not with us anymore.
No.
How long has he been gone?
Not that many years. I don't know. It's about 10 years. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
What happened to his archive?
I have no idea.
Where was he based?
In America. I have no idea where.
You don't know what city?
I used to know, but I can't remember.
Okay. Well, one day you will email me. So, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's like Stan Clark, same thing. I tried a few things, trying to obtain anything.
What a loss. What a loss.
And this is another thing, all these archives that are going. And this is where you, the crowd, could be handy. Because in the end we want it digitized. I don't care about the paperwork. As a matter of fact, the people would be glad to get rid of the paperwork once it's digitized. Because you don't have to store it anymore. Or you can bury it in some mountain in the middle of nowhere.
Iron Mountain.
And it's the part that where people basically have to put effort in it, real effort. Not just spewing your opinion on Facebook, on Twitter, but actually go, you know what, I got this, I went through that, and I've digitized it, and I'm going to release it, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I know it's a mammoth of a task. It's I mean, your archive was massive, and it took me quite a few years.
Not only massive, but disorganized.
That too, but
chaotic.
yeah, but you know what? That also has
but
positives.
You know, it with all. I mean, I used to copy riffs and put them with it. Then I had somebody, and you know who that somebody is, to decide that riffs weren't necessary, and stripped them out. So that wasn't too good. But if you go to Waco and you go to Baylor there, you'll find 20 boxes of my files. They're FBI files,
Really?
field office files.
20 boxes?
20. To do with Cuban exiles.
Oh, well, you're lucky I'm not interested in
Look,
that.
you're not interested.
I was like, oh gosh, what did I miss?
Every single document has a riff. So, you know, I get criticised, there's no riffs. You know,
So 20 boxes with riffs
yeah.
in at Baylor, your archive.
Yeah.
How come it's
It's in Ed Sherry's archive.
Oh.
It's in Ed Sherry's
So it's
archive.
your document in Ed Sherry's archive.
Yeah.
Yeah, Baylor has helped me with shots of the Wiegman film, They came from the Jack White collection, and they sent them to me. They weren't that expensive, but the quality wasn't good enough for me to see anything. But yeah, Baylor's alright. And also, online you can see a fair bit already. You know, Armstrong's archive, for instance, was there. It's.
Did you find that useful? Thinking about that.
Some of it. Some of it. No, I have to say that I didn't get the documents from there. I got documents from either Nara or Weisberg.
Right.
Weisberg was for me the eye-opener, because when I started with Weisberg in, 2015, around that time, 10 years ago, and what's his name, Clayton Ogilvie?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did that work, and also he used Google as a
Yeah.
search engine inside the archives, and that just spit out the results that you wanted to have. But again, Weisberg also was far too widespread. But in the beginning, yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, I might have taken 1 or 2 documents out of the Armstrong archive because I couldn't find it in Weisberg's, or somebody linked to it, and I thought, okay, I'll keep that. But no, for me, Weisberg's archive was much more.
It's a very good archive.
It's an amazing archive, and even now, when what he's doing with Gerald McKnight's stuff and all the others, you know, there's a whole another set, and he keeps quiet about it. You just happen to find it by going to Hood College and just looking at it, but he just scans in. I need to have a talk with him. He's another technophobe.
I always remember him slogging away at Nara every single day, for days on end, weeks on end. Really hard job. You know, when you're not like, it's different for us as researchers. If we're looking, we're interested in the document itself, but to just keep going.
That is what I found.
Mind-numbing.
No, well, I experienced it when I was doing your thing, because first of all, there was certain
Especially
things,
if you got any Cuban stuff.
so much of that stuff. But there was so much stuff that I didn't know about, names, people in the agency, or Cuban exiles, and so forth.
Well, I told you, you should use a book of all the correspondence we had.
And I go, what's this about? What's that about?
Like
Tell me about this. And I just kept sending him emails with the PDF attached to it. And I go, I don't have a clue. That's such and such, HSCA, da da da. Okay, fine, all right. So I knew how to catalog it and categorize it. But gradually you learn about these people, and then slowly, not that I'm that precise, but the thing was also, when you mentioned that with the scanning is really intense, because you're doing hundreds of pages a day, and you're just glancing at things, and you're not really reading it. But when you start reading, so while I was glancing, I again said to myself, Dallas only, don't get distracted, forget the spooks, forget the Cuban America thing, that's for other people to look at. And one of the hardest things was not to get involved with heavy reading on New Orleans, Orestes Pena and Warren de Broes and all that. Yeah, that's.
I like to focus on those people.
That's really good stuff.
Pena, because this guy's got a bad press, and he tried to tell the truth, and the FBI really went after him big time. They really went after him big time.
Wasn't Hank Farmer, who you just mentioned, wasn't he chased as well and harassed?
I think I came across a couple of documents where he'd gone to the family home, and then of course onto the employers, and the impression was that he was making trouble. You shouldn't make trouble, otherwise you're in danger of becoming non-employed.
Okay. Have we got anything else we want to talk about?
Well,
Nah.
some things just keep nagging.
Okay, go on.
Right.
Go on, get out the paperwork.
It's just this one which you've read out before,
Oh.
and I just opened with the microphone itself. So
Read it out loud.
there are certain things that the agency, the CIA, have always tried to lock the door on. First of all, they've always tried to stop any interviews, really, or testimony of Peter Deryabin from being released. And the same with Anatoly Golitsyn. These guys, even their notes are very few and far between. The notes that the HSCA took, some of those are redacted. So Deryabin was interviewed by the HSCA on the 27th of April, 1978.
At the end of the HSCA.
Yeah. Anatoly Golitsyn was interviewed on the 4th of May, 78. His deposition was on the 19th of May. Now, Nosenko had multiple interviews around that time. Yuri Nosenko, our friend Yuri, some of which has been released, some not. But one of the most interesting people that was interviewed was Bruce Soley. Bruce Soley's interview that's been released was for the beginning of June. The House Select Committee interviewed him on the 9th of May. We don't have that. He had a deposition on the 22nd of May. We don't have that. Reluctantly, we do have the third one, which is at the beginning of June. So those people, I think, should be focused on by the research community. Deryabin and Golitsyn and Soley, because the agency has tried to keep that door firmly shut. This is the stuff we need to look at, if we can get it. If it's supposed to be in the 80,000 document release. So,
And of course, Antonio Vesiano's 2 HSCA interviews weren't published either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's lots of stuff in there that slipped through the cracks, I think. Even in this 80,000 document release, I think there's a lot of stuff slipped through the cracks.
This is an incomplete document. But
I've got it.
oh, you got the whole thing?
Yeah. But focusing on those, because Golitsyn and Deryabin, of course, were anti-Nosenko people. They were Russians, they were trusted by CIA as 100%. And for some reason, they were accepted. Their opinions were accepted, their ideas were accepted.
Oh, isn't that always the case?
Yeah.
Isn't that always the case? The evidence never wins unless we go in front of a judge. That's the only time. Before that, all this claptrap, as long as you shout, keep shouting, and keep attacking. Yeah, it really works, really deflects. I like this. The Warren, the agency did not provide any of the previous investigations, Warren, Church, the depth of access to its files as we are now are to the HSCA. Nor do we provide the same degree of access to either Senate Select Committee on Intelligence or the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, in example DDO 201 files and other sources and methods material. We must be prepared to comment upon our relationship with this committee. B. Now that was the A bit, so now the B bit. The agency released to the public through the Warren Commission report a cropped version of the Mexico City unidentified man photograph. As this photograph was from the photographic surveillance operation, and as several other photographs from the same operation have been cropped and supplied to the committee, are we prepared to release all of these other photographs to the public if requested? So there you go. But yeah, what you just mentioned about Deryabin, Golitsyn, Nosenko, and Bruce Soley. Yeah. And you know what? This just basically nails it down. it's precise and it says like what, that interview was done on that day. Where is it? Huh? It's amazing how much HSCA stuff just doesn't come out, or has come out much later than my biggest grievance with the HSCA is that in a way they were investigating and digging, and at the same time when it comes to Dallas, for instance, I find it like their work really, yeah, how shall I say, not as motivated as for instance with
What I find with
Russia.
What I find with Betsy Wolf notes
Yeah.
is lots of places where it's whited out, it's redacted,
Yeah.
and that's interesting for me. I mean, that's how devastating.
That's a good example.
Yeah, that's how devastating Betsy Wolf was. And I hear these people saying, "Oh, well, she doesn't know much." Well, yeah, go and look at the files. If she doesn't know much, go and look at the files. She knew a lot,
That's just
and she
people with
researched a
opinions.
lot. She was absolutely fantastic.
In this game, opinions don't count. Walk away now. I really do. Because I believe that you're wasting everyone's time, especially your own, with beliefs.
Yeah, she was a good researcher.
Yeah, but I digitized almost everything that you gave me.
There was a lot.
I handed
There was
over.
quite a lot.
She
Yeah.
had great handwriting. Great handwriting
it's
style.
really nice
It's
writing.
beautiful.
You could read everything.
You can read handwriting. So it's like, wow.
She was the researcher that I found written into one corner. I think it was in 2008, 2009. She'd written RE equals Ruben Efron. That was the first time we got to that guy's name. And I passed it around to a few people in the research group, and I don't think anybody thought anything of it. Until John Newman, I think John, in about 2014 or 2015, or maybe before, twigged, the importance of Ruben Efron. But then, of course, lately people discover Ruben Efron. So,
It's a
but
pity.
it came out originally of Betsy Wolf's files.
It's a pity that no one's managed to talk to her.
Well, apparently, I was told that Jeff Morley talked to her.
Oh.
So, that's interesting.
When did he do that?
I have no idea. I know that when I spoke to Jim Lazar, when he was Compass, he said, straight away he said to me, "Oh, she doesn't want to talk to anybody." Just accept it, it was a statement. Yeah. But Betsy, in Betsy's files, she goes through all the files that were close to Oswald's, when they were opened, these files, the Ann Egerton files. You go through those files, and she got to Oswald's file. Then there's a missing file, 249. It's 201. Was it 9? I don't remember. I can't remember the number. But the number is one file away from Oswald's file. It's another defector file that was opened.
Webster?
I don't know who it is, but it's so restricted, so sensitive, she can't even look at it. That file is one file away from Oswald's. Interesting.
Oh.
Too sensitive for even someone with a security clearance to look at it.
So when did Morley speak with her then? Was that recent?
I have no idea. May not even be true. Somebody told me. But sometimes these are rumours.
Yeah, because Morley would have come out with something. Morley likes a headline, so but not that I'm knocking it, but if he has something, he'll come up with it. And if he's done it a few years back, he would have come out with it.
Yeah, it might be just a rumour.
Because as far as I know, she didn't want to talk to anyone. This is another thing.
But it's good stuff. If anybody could look in the
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 archive.
files,
Just
the
look.
Betsy Wolf files.
Just search Betsy Wolf, and you'll have 99% of handwritten documents. What's really odd as well is that, from what I heard back in the HSCA days, people were allowed to take notes of their documents, but they had to leave the notes behind. So how come her notes have come out?
Well, they're other people's. They're a separate entity. I think you're probably right to a certain extent. I think they probably were kept because obviously they had to be screened by CIA. Like they could go to CIA, write their notes, and then leave, and then come back and then write more notes. But then, as you see from some of these documents there, there's still redactions. And they haven't put like a bracket around or anything. It's just like whited out.
Or a piece of paper on top. Yeah.
Oh, a piece of paper on top. So that some of that stuff, I'd be interested to see what's not redacted under it.
The job that needs to be done, because of the fact as well that I found so many documents in your collection that aren't online. It means they haven't been scanned in. And most of the time I'm going, yeah, I can understand why this isn't online. Because of some of the explosive material or quotes or statements that are in there that basically mess with the original narrative, you know. I found that with the autopsy materials, for instance, you had stuff in there where I just went, this changes everything. During the HSCA, I'll talk about this, why the hell not. During the HSCA, one of the people there, whose name I'm not going to divulge, I would like to stay a step ahead, who went into a lab and who wrote about every part of the process of having 3 rolls of 35mm film, which is also very odd, of autopsy photos. And she basically describes the process of them meaning to make 7 copies of each photograph. And on top of that, she describes every shot what the photograph is of. Now that's something that no one's had their hands on, except me. And I thought that was really interesting, and that basically also made me dig into other things related to the autopsy photographs. I think I am going to work on a second book. It will be photography related. The Dallas police evidence is part of that. The autopsy photos are part of that. The Mormon Polaroid, things like that. Because
there's a lot of material.
Exactly, there's a lot of material about the photos. How they were chased, how they were trying to get copies of it, you know. The Nix film, for instance, disappearing, you know, there's all these, the Zapruder film by itself as well, what happened to that, how it went. Yeah, it's very interesting stuff. And I just like, and also I said it to Peter in the car when we were driving up here, I said, do you know what? There's not enough books on the photography aspect of the assassination. I mean, we've got Richard Trask, we've got Robert Groden, and maybe 1 or 2 others, which I can't really think of. Write in the comments if you do. But I just think like there's not enough attention paid to it. Now I know that because of having it in the archives, internet wasn't there yet. But now slowly you get the internet going, archives start to wake up a little bit more, start to post low res images like Baylor, for instance, of particular collections. So they show low res pictures of Jack White's collection. So, you know, I can say, okay, can I have that for high res? Then you get certain high res image, which is much better than what is on the web. And, but overall, just, yeah, it seems to be a really niche area. And you need to know photography, you need to understand photography, you need to know the mechanics of it, the cameras, the processing, you know, duplicating, for instance, is terrible quality. I mean, you make one copy of a film. From that film, you need to make a positive or a negative first, and then get another positive out. So you're talking 2 generations on before you have your copy. So by the time it goes to a, say, news affiliate, then you could probably have 5 copies, 5 generations. And that just means, especially in that era, white areas become very white, washed out, and dark areas, shadows, become very dark. So the contrast, it just expands itself, whereas the middle tones are pretty much evaporating. And with the digital world, that's not the case. I can copy an image 1,000,000 times and it won't make an iota difference unless I save it into a different format. But back then, the manually copying as such, that just, you know, if people say, oh, it's a first generation copy, how do you know that? Because by the time it gets in your hand, they already had to make a copy in between, an interneg, to get the other positive. So you're talking already, that's 3rd generation. So, like for instance, some people say the Darnell film at the 6th Floor Museum is a 1st generation copy, and I say no, I can't. I find that hard to believe because of the copying process involved. It would have to be at least a 3rd generation if you're lucky, you know. So people that say that don't know what they're talking about. Anyway, enough banter. What are we looking at?
Wait a minute.
Oh, go on then.
One of the things that I don't know if I talked with you about this before, but it came into my mind this week, was Howard Hunt.
No, I don't deal with Howard Hunt.
Howard Hunt and a conversation with Pete Bagley.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We were in a little cafe restaurant which is opposite his apartment in Brussels.
Yeah.
We just had lunch, and the conversation sort of meandered onto Watergate. And I think I must have said to him something like, oh, Hunt, Howard Hunt, and all that stuff. And he suddenly said to me, Pete said to me, yeah, he was in the Russia division at one point. I thought, what? Howard Hunt in the Soviet Russia division? He said, yes.
He said SR6.
So he said it was not long before I entered on duty, not before I came in. So he came in August, September of 62. So sometime before, Howard Hunt had been in the Russia division. And I couldn't figure it. I just couldn't figure it out. I said, oh, so I said to him, oh, you mean James Hunt, who was like an assistant to Angleton? He said, no, Howard Hunt, the Watergate guy. He said nobody could figure out what he was doing there. So you come along with links, and I was looking in one time Howard Hunt's HSCA subject file, which is a very good file, a very interesting file. It's got his background investigation when he came to work at the White House. It's about that thick, really interesting. So I'm looking in there, and you must have seen this many times. There's a copy of an FBI document in colour, and it's got Bruce Soley on the front.
Possibly.
It's Bruce Soley passing out personnel files, CIA personnel files. On the second page, I copied it in colour, I always remember this. It talks about Howard Hunt attending parties with the Carlos. Now, if you know your history, CIA history about moles, about penetration agents, Peter Carlo was suspected of being a mole. Mm. So, and then Hunt suddenly appears on the scene, attending parties with the Carlos. So I thought this is really interesting, especially given that it's Bruce Soley handing out the files. But it's, if you think about it, that explains the comment. You know? Hunt in the Soviet Russia division. He can only be working for one person, James Angleton. Angleton has got him is placed Hunt in the Soviet division to spy on the Carlos, to see what he can find out about Peter Carlo. Interesting how like these separate things suddenly come together. I mean, a really off the wall, off the cuff comment about Howard Hunt being in a Russia division. So, that makes perfect sense now. I saw that document in Hunt's file.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of paperwork you have on Howard Hunt.
Yeah.
But because it was Howard Hunt, I was glancing. I wasn't reading.
I thought you were going to say I was glassy-eyed.
No, I was just looking at it and it's like, oh, there's a fair amount to go through. So if Howard Hunt is your type of thing, you've got quite a few documents to go through.
But I was so scared I would lose that document, I copied it multiple times. You must have copied it multiple times.
That's another thing on Malcolm's archive, yeah.
If I find something significant, I'm sort of always scared I'm going to lose it. So I copy it, multiple copy it.
Yeah, but losing it and then not having it is much worse. So.
Yep.
Okay, Doc. Enough with the banter. We're hungry. Let's go for Indian, and we'll be catching up next year. Malcolm's going on a well-earned break, so he'll be back March, April, and then hopefully we'll you know, when the leaves are getting back on the trees again, we'll probably make an attempt to come down here and catch up. How sunny it was and how far the beach was from his house and all that. But and then by that time, hopefully, I'll have gathered some questions for a change, something more specific. Well, even you go quiet and go, I just don't have a clue anymore. Don't know.
No, I don't understand that.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll catch up then. And until then, thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for the comments as well. Yeah,
Bye.
We appreciate it. You take it easy. Ciao.
Now then. I have bought a smartphone. I need someone to
Oh, you have bought a smartphone?
Love it.
Well, give me the number and I'll hassle you every day.
It needs, I just want a couple of apps on there. If you can do that.
Yeah, I can do that. Even with the microphone, you manage to sound dodgy. How can that be? Yes, even then.
Really?
Yes, you do that. You start really well and loud, and then you just go into your old habits and bang.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
It's like a dodgy voice on a porno film.
Yeah. I'll take the clip of you. Earliest sight of him is
Ladies with big tits.
he's very distinctive. He's got a black fedora head and he's got circular
Well,
glasses.
you're alright.
And he's also, if you go onto my website on prayer-man.com and you find the Secret Service section, you go to Thomas.
It looks like it's a sort of similar effort.
It's doable.
If you look at,
It's
still the problem. The problem is he buys crap mics.
You need to get some AI on it.
Thanks a lot. Alright, give us that.
DIA got a hold of this report
Doesn't even have power.
Have to remember press and hold for so many seconds. You might need charging. Depends if
Its
it's.
phone's dead, so I need to put it into the iPhone charger quickly for me.
Oh, I ain't got an iPhone.
I do.
Yeah, it's a Type C.
What's that?
Type C.
Oh, that I don't have. So it's a really modern phone.
Yeah, it's.
Are we eating Indian or
Yeah,
yeah?
yeah.
Malcolm?
No,
Carol
I'm gonna
coming?
get fish and chips.
You want fish and chips? No
We
way.
always, on a Saturday I usually bring them. And we all have fish and chips. Or you can go to Moran's.
I'm going to.
So
Too good to be true.
I can't hear that.
Too good to be true.
Oh, was it? Is that what it was?
I said to him, what's the corroboration for Vetter B. Driscoll? Oh, he said, I talked to, because you know the story, the backstory is he got the documentations from Robert T. Crowley. He got the for that book, and actually,
This sounds alright.
so the Vetter B. Driscoll
100%.
That's the first one.
Soviet report,
Audio.
he says, came out of
And this
There
is
we
the
go.
second one.
Samsung Galaxy.
and
Yeah.
we're live.
Same as mine. Except mine's probably like
Pick up the
2 years old now.
for no reason, for no good reason, the FBI
If people can't hear this, I say tough shit.
Get the some AI on it. AI on it.
5 bits off.
Well, he's got an Android phone.
Yeah.
You've got an Android phone. Then talk to Peter because he knows it better than I do. Where to go, where
Yeah,
to
you
shop.
need the Play Store, you need to go to. Oh dear. Okay.
It's supposed to be easy to use.
They all say it.
Part 2.
Right, how do I upload this again?
Right. Okay. Right. You need to connect to the internet. Right. Oh, there we go. Wi-Fi. Is that connected? Yeah. Oh no, 5G. You want to take the mobile data off. You've still got Wi-Fi, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
God, I don't know which one it is.
It's not that difficult. I'll tell you what, once you got it set up, all you gotta do is talk to the kids and say, listen, I need this. And they'll just go tap, 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 and they'll take care of it. Because they're familiar with it.
There's the, okay.
Well, I'm glad we did these chats. I think this one was even better than the last one. Oh, great time. That's good. And also, it was unexpected, so. Fish and chips.
Yeah.